This week's question of the week deals with bringing a claim for negligence against a pharmacist for misfilling a prescription or giving the wrong medication. Here's the question. My elderly mother takes a lot of different medications. Last week, she noticed one of her pills had a different shape and color to it and asked the pharmacist, who determined that they had put the wrong medicine in her bottle. Can a pharmacist be held liable for giving out the wrong medication? Um, Effective October 1st, 2011, under the Civil Justice Act of 2011, specifically Tennessee Code Annotated Section 29-26-101, a pharmacist is considered to be a health care provider who is subject to the provisions of Tennessee Code Annotated that deal with medical malpractice claims. Stated simply, for injuries occurring October 1st, 2011 and after, a pharmacist is considered to be a healthcare provider under the Med-Mal statutes, just like a doctor is considered to be a healthcare provider under those statutes. Before October 1st, 2011, a pharmacist was not necessarily considered to be a healthcare provider as it relates to bringing a negligence claim for misfilling a prescription. Under ordinary negligence law, for claims that would arise before October 1st, 2011, if you could establish that the pharmacist had just given the wrong medication and that you were injured as a result of that medication, you could file just a regular personal injury complaint, and you wouldn't necessarily be required to get the testimony of another pharmacist who was familiar with the standard of care in that area to say that another pharmacist fell below the standard of care, like you do under a medical malpractice case. Luckily for the patient, under the old law and for injuries preceding October 1st, 2011, you don't have to be concerned necessarily about getting a pharmacist to testify that another pharmacist was negligent. So if you suffered an injury as a result of a prescription misfill that occurred before October 1st, 2011, yes, you can bring a claim for damages, and yes, it could just be brought under ordinary negligence rules, where you just prove that somebody did something wrong and that you were damaged as a result of it, much like an automobile accident case. If you were injured as a result of medication that was given to you by a pharmacist or a pharmacy technician after October 1st, 2011, then your potential claim would likely be considered a medical malpractice claim under the Civil Justice Act of 2011. And you have to follow certain rules that are set forth in Tennessee Code Annotated, specifically Tennessee Code Annotated Section 29-26-101 and subsequent statutes. Under those statutes, before you bring a lawsuit against a pharmacist, you have to give notice of your claim against that pharmacist in writing to the pharmacist. The statutes prescribe the manner in which you have to give that notice or deliver that notice. If you give it in person to the pharmacist, that can be accomplished by personally delivering it to the pharmacist, or certain persons or a certain person designated by that pharmacist to accept deliveries for the pharmacist at that pharmacist's place of business. The statutes also make provision for you being allowed to give notice to the pharmacist by mail in a certain fashion. The statute is very specific about how that notice has to be mailed out and where the notice can be mailed to. You need to carefully read that statute, and you have to comply with that statute verbatim, line for line. Assuming that you can establish that you're given the wrong medication and you follow the procedures under the statutes, you can bring a claim for damages against the pharmacist for or resulting from a misfill of those prescriptions after October 1st, 2011. You'd be entitled to recover for any and all injuries or conditions that were related to that prescription misfill. You can recover basically any and all damages that are allowed by Tennessee law. The laws involved with bringing a claim against a pharmacist, particularly claims that would arise after October 1st, 2011, are very complicated. You should always seek the assistance of an attorney who is experienced in bringing these types of claims before you attempt to bring a claim. I regularly handle cases involving pharmacists filling prescriptions incorrectly. I'll be happy to sit down with you and share with you my experience in that regard and help you make the appropriate call about bringing a claim against a pharmacist. I always offer a free initial consultation. There'll be no pressure brought to bear against you, and I'll make you feel at home. I want to make sure that your rights are protected under the law, and I'll be happy, as always, to help you get your life back.
Get your life back. Call the law offices of T. Verner Smith for a free consultation. 423-1888. 423-1888.